Bishop Waleran said that if a sinner stares into the flame, the devil stares back from the lake of fire. What?
I can't see him. What is it?
We ride back to Winchester. Now!
What happened?
Maybe he saw things to come.
Good. Now you leave as well. That man, William, had no idea why you two came here, had he? You came here to spy on the bishop. You brought this man here. Leave! Go!
That's just mean.
There you are. My son seemed thoughtful when he returned.
You priests and your talk. You always get to him.
He seemed more excited after talking to your bishop, though. Then again, we know Waleran is good with words. Don't we, my husband?
Of course, yes.
Speaking of Waleran, what did you find, monk?
A construction site, that's what we
A
found.
construction site.
Ah. So Waleran has a building project of his own. Did you also find out what he is building?
A castle.
Yes. He is building a castle for himself. And he used up every stone and every tree on his own lands. He claims he wants Bartholomew's land for your cathedral. But what Waleran wants is a castle.
He's always been like that.
What do you want from me?
As Prior of Kingsbridge, you will agree that my husband shall have the whole earldom of Shining.
And why would I do you a favor like that?
Because we will support the rebuilding of your cathedral with our stones and our timber.
The king can live up to all of his promises, and Waleran gets nothing.
That is our offer. What do you say?
No, we have no deal.
Why not?
We made you a good offer.
You need me. The king still considers giving all the lands of the earldom to Waleran to rebuild our cathedral. You need this deal with me just as much as I do.
This is... Oh. We taught this fool well, it seems.
What are your terms, father?
Well, if we want to stay true to our bishop, we'd have to divide. It seems like the best we'll do, because I don't really think that the king will literally break his promise to the guy that helped him get the throne. I think this is probably the best we'll be able to do.
What is more valuable, arable land or forest?
Arable land, of course.
Then you shall have the arable and I'll have the forest.
I need the forest to hunt. An earl must have his hunting grounds.
You can hunt there. I just want the timber for my cathedral.
Ugh,
Which do you want, the cattle pastures or the sheep grazings?
the pasture.
Then I'll have the hill farms with their sheep. Would you like the income from markets or the quarry?
Suppose we said the quarry.
You won't though, will you?
No. We'll take the markets. You can have the stones.
It is agreed then?
We have a pact. My husband will let the king know of our agreement. Bishop Waleran will be quite surprised. You will see his true face when he does not get what he wants.
That seems to be a recurring theme in this game. Let's have a chat with the jailer.
Good day.
You come to visit someone in my jail, Father? Or do you want to pick out a nice warm cell for yourself?
How dare you?
Oh, I'm just pulling your leg. See? A smile. Just for you, Father.
Bishop Henry sends me.
The bishop, eh? What does he want?
He wants me to talk to Bartholomew of Shiring.
Bartholomew of Shiring. Ah. It's only Bartholomew now. It's his 4th day without bread. Soon he won't even be Bartholomew anymore.
Why torture someone when you could just wait it out?
Bartholomew. I am Brother Philip.
Is it truly my place to ask whether or not he could before? Yeah, let's do this.
We have never met, but I am responsible for your fate.
No one ever chose my fate for me. I choose my fate.
Was it worth dying for? Why did you go against the king? Let's ask. His motives are near irrelevant.
Stephen sent you. Why would you side with the usurper?
Let's be honest.
I was asked to make you confess.
Stronger men tried that before you. Why should I confess to you?
I guess we could hold this over his head. I am responsible for your arrest, or your people found refuge in my priory. Let's play on his good Earl side.
Your people found refuge in my priory. Your confession will help me to give them work and shelter.
I have no sins to confess. My only regret is that I failed.
I will not tell the king that. They will kill you.
They have already done that. Monk, tell them that I confessed.
To what?
All of it. Treason.
But
the son shall not suffer for the iniquity of the father. Tell Stephen that as well.
you know the scripture.
Richard and Aliena, my children, they must live.
I see. Well, I guess considering his situation, he has his priorities in order.
And a good day to you too, Father.
Let's beat him with a book.
The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted.
Oof. Did he just diss the king? Talk with the Bish first or not? Let's see, what do we gain? We can spoil what we've come to know. They might be able to help with the clemency bit. I mean, it's forgiveness and all that other stuff. Although the sins of the father...
About
Maybe I do not. Perhaps.
nothing new. We can return tomorrow, or we can say... Tomorrow he makes a decision, and the decision is set. There's no reason to tell them now. Why would you tell him now? I don't see a reason. King is out hunting, so... Yeah, let's leave and just return tomorrow.
Maybe I should come back tomorrow.
Yes, there is not much a monk can do here.
Yes, your bishop and I will do what we can to help your priory.
God helps those who help themselves.
My loyal subject, Percy Hamley, today becomes the Earl of Sharing. Of the former Earl's possessions, Percy shall have the castle. And all the land that is tenanted to knights, plus all other arable land and low-lying pasture.
I swear by all that is holy to be your liegeman, and to fight for you against any other.
My king...
Ah, yes. Of course, I have not forgotten the worries of my bishops. The Earl of Sharing himself, Percy here, solved this problem for me. Thanks to him, I can uphold my promise. Don't worry, Bishop Waleran. Kingsbridge shall be rebuilt. Percy told me of a man here whom my brother has not yet introduced. Come forward, Prior.
My brother, may I present to you Philip of Gwynedd?
My king.
You seem afraid. What are you worried about?
Yeah, let's go with this. Seems like the
Worried because I don't have a
starstruck
king.
response.
Then stop worrying. I like a monk to look like a monk, not like a king. Now, about the arrangement between you and Percy Hamley. He insisted that I give the sheep grazings belonging to the former Earl to the priory of Kingsbridge. The priory will also have the right to take stone from the Earl's quarry and timber from his forest. I wholeheartedly agree with the plan you two have devised. It shall be done.
Thank you.
Thank you, my lord.
It seems unnecessarily complicated to give the land to the bishop. Percy told me that you, Father Philip, share that sentiment. He told me it was your idea to take up the burden of managing the rebuilding of the cathedral yourself.
Wonderful.
I'm glad that we all were able to help you, Bishop Waleran, in this pressing matter. After all you have done for me.
Thank you, Lord King.
Oof, that's gotta hurt.
Bartholomew lost everything in his attempt to end my reign. This morning he was found dead in his cell. I've heard that you, Prior, worry for his children, Richard and Aliena. While they shall lose their status, their name, and their land, they shall go free, wherever they are.
You must be very proud, Lady Hamley.
Of course. Father Philip has been very understanding in all this.
Yes, he is remarkable. Very remarkable.
My husband and I were terrified when we
He
heard
can't
about
even
the fall
blame
of
us.
Kingsbridge. It is a blessing that we can
Because we weren't supposed to know.
You sowed the wind, Philip.
I guess that's what deception gets you. Oof, well, I don't really mind that Valorant thinks we're bad to him now, because he was kind of bad to us. Well, maybe not literally. We trusted in his leadership and he betrayed his leadership position. He didn't prevent the war. Now, we're gonna have to deal with Valorant's servant at some point, I suspect. We did get clemency for the kids, that's good.
Is everyone ready?
Yes, everyone will be there.
But how are we to pray and contemplate like this? I don't dare even to send my choir out there.
We shall get used to it, all of us.
We must be thankful for all of this, for each noise, each face that disturbs us here.
We shall start with the chancel, then gradually work our way from east to west. That's the way it's done, the way I was taught to do it.
I value your enthusiasm, my dear Mason, but so far we're only cleaning up. I haven't even considered hiring a master builder yet, neither you nor anyone else.
May I show you some drawings?
By all means.
Oh, we can interact. Elevation, section, floor plan. Elevation. The side view of one of the aisle's walls. It helps to understand proportion. Maybe I should begin here. Floor plan. The outline for the foundation. This is where construction begins, but for a layman it may be hard to comprehend. Section. The frontal view of the church. It is less abstract than the floor plan. Could be a good place to start. Well, let's see. This is near pointless for an explanation. I mean, what it says is literally what you see. And this is difficult, according to the game, so let's start with the front.
Look here first. If you were facing the cathedral with the front wall torn down, you would see it like this.
Interesting. What's that, coming out from above the entrance?
Oh, more interaction, I see. A nave, aisles, foundation, buttress, roof, tower. Alright. Let's talk about I drew it almost impossibly high. I had to. The priory needs to be impressed. Aisles. 2 round-topped archways. Half the height of the nave. Their stone vaults provide support for the nave. Roof. I won't tell him about the ceiling yet. He could never afford a curved stone vault, so a simple timber ceiling will have to do. And the tower, it's either 3 halves or double the height of the nave. A higher tower is more impressive, but also more costly. Foundation, no need to mention the foundation. It's very deep and a lot of work, but I'd rather focus on the more impressive details. And the buttress. To a layman they must look like wasteful knickknacks. 2 round-topped archways, half the height of the nave. Their stone vaults provide support for the nave. Alright, let's just left-click each of them.
The nave will be about 32 feet high and will appear even higher.
Drawing the eye heavenward with its loftiness.
Well said. A chamber worthy of God.
I always wondered how walls this high could hold up so well.
You recognize the aisles?
Of course. I've been in quite a few churches in my time.
Did you know then that their purpose is to support the nave?
Fascinating. I must say, you do know your craft, Master Builder.
So he's just really soliciting for this job. Let's do the tower.
That's the tower, of course.
I thought so, but why is it right above the nave? Shouldn't it be closer to the transept?
Oh, don't be fooled. The tower is, of course, farther back, but one can't show depth in a drawing.
Ah, of course. How high will it be?
Twice as high as the rest. It makes for quite an awe-inspiring view.
It also sounds very expensive.
Ah.
What about the other drawings?
Let's go to the overview. He seems to have had enough from the front.
When we walk around the site, we mark where the walls will be, the pillars, the doors and buttresses. Now for that we need a plan like this, to tell us where to place our pegs and string.
Is this how birds would see our church?
Exactly.
What do we have? We have a nave. The nave points west. It has 6 bays. That should be easy enough to understand. Transept. Transept gives the church a cross-like shape. Here it starts right in the middle towards the channel. With 2 bays it's perfectly proportioned. The chancel faces the sunrise in the east. I want it to be 4 bays long, enough to look impressive without costing too much. And what do we have? Alright, so let's do the transept.
Here you can see the transept.
I noticed, yes. It is remarkable how much you can reveal with so few lines.
Thank you, Father. The nave is on the left. It has 6 bays.
And the chancel?
The chancel will have 4 bays.
I can see the transept is 2 bays wide, so it will be 12 in total. It does look splendid, but isn't that rather small?
Well, we gotta take his concerns into consideration.
Well, can you afford to build it bigger?
I have trouble affording it at all. The king grants us timber and stone and wool from Shiring's pastures. But only God knows if it will be enough. I don't suppose you have any idea how much this would cost.
Optimism or pessimism? Well, as soon as they start, we have no choice but to keep going. So I guess we give an optimistic estimate and then just hope for the, what's it called, the paradox again? The sunk cost fallacy to kick in.
I know exactly how much this would cost. It would be no more than £3,000.
I've spent the last few weeks working out the annual income of the priory. Here's the answer. £300 a year. And we spend every penny. Go on now, show me the rest of your drawing.
Let's do the elevation next.
Imagine you're standing in the centre of the nave, looking at the wall. This is what you see.
Are those windows?
Right, but that's not all.
What do we have? We have the overview, to go back, the clerestory, the tribune gallery, and the arcade. The bottom half is hardly a wall at all. It's a row of 2 columns joined by arches. The light shines past the arcade and into the nave. The bottom half is hardly a wall at all. Tribune gallery, 3 windows above each of the arcade. No light will come through here. Behind them is the lean-to roof of the aisle. 3 windows above each arch of the arcade. The clerestory windows light the nave from above. In size they make up 2/3 of the upper half. That's smaller than the arcade and twice the size of the gallery. Let's talk about the arcade first.
Are the pillars of the arcade. They're joined by arches making up the bays. Through the archways you can see the windows in the aisle. Starting right in the middle is the tribune gallery. Shall I go on?
Yes, of course. I was just thinking. Keep going.
On top are the clear-story windows.
I can see
Clear
you put a lot of
story.
thought into this. I was just wondering, how long would this take to build? You can take your time with that answer.
Alright. 8 to 10 years with 60 masons or 15 years with 30 masons. We estimated our money and assume we spend every penny on the cathedral. It would take 10 years. How much of a time pressure are we on? I guess this would be the cheapest solution, the short one. Wait. 60 masons times 10. That's, let's say, 600 years of work. As compared to 15 years with 30 masons. Which is 15 times 3 is 450. Huh. So this would be the cheapest way.
Well, that depends on how many people you employ. If you hire 30 masons with enough labourers, apprentices, carpenters and smiths, they will be done in 15 years.
I wish my monastic officials had your ability to think ahead and calculate. So, I need to find £200 a year. It doesn't sound so bad when you put it that way. You really want to build this cathedral yourself, don't you?
Yes, Father. I want you to appoint me Master Builder.
Why?
Because it will be beautiful because I want to fully exercise my skill, because I've seen it done badly, because it gives meaning to a man's life. Wifey did say to do it for beauty, not for awe.
Because he wants to teach people awe.
Is that so? Then answer me this one last question. If people were to enter your church, what image would they see crowning the tympanum above the entrance? One of Judgment Day to teach people to be good? Or one of Paradise to remind them of God's mercy?
Show them how, so that they're afraid to do bad things.
I'd rather see trees and animals.
Mercy or just Judgment Day? I guess on the entrance would be mercy, and if you would face the front of the church right above the door, it would say mercy. So when you enter the church, you are conditioned with mercy. And then when you walk out on the other side above the door, it should show Judgment Day, so you're reminded to be good while you're outside the church. But let's go with mercy.
It should be the promise of a better life. Therefore, it will show heaven.
Yes.
This is quite exciting, isn't it, brother?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Francis.
I'm just glad that I can be a part of this. In the past year, I was often afraid that my involvement in politics might turn out, well, let's just say that I'm glad that I can still be by your side, Philip. And for that, I thank God, and I thank you too.
Papa, Will there be statues inside?
Statues?
Oh. That's enough, children. It's time you went out and played. Prior.
Yes?
My first wife, Agnes. She died without a priest, and she's buried in unconsecrated ground. Sometimes a man builds a chapel, or founds a monastery, in the hope that in the afterlife God will remember his piety. I just wonder, do you think my design might serve to protect Agnes's soul?
God no longer asks for blood sacrifices, for the ultimate sacrifice has already been made. But the lesson of Abraham's story is that God demands the best we have to offer, that which is most precious to us. So you must ask yourself, is this design the best thing you could offer?
Except for my children. Yes.
Then rest easy, Tom Builder. God will accept it.